orally transmitted teachings Owarangi Kudanon Buddhism Lesson 10, Bodhisattvas, Female Bodhisattvas on Earth, Kosen Rufu Part 1, Bodhisattvas, Female Bodhisattvas on Earth. In the second part of the Lotus Sutra, Honmon, in Japanese, Thus-come-one Shakyamuni entrusted the movement of Kosen Rufu to the Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth. What can these notions of Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth, of Kosen Rufu, mean? Who are the Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth? If the Buddha entrusted the movement of Kosen Rufu in the Jambudvipa, the southern continent, or planet Earth, to the Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth, the task force who appear from Chapter 11, Appearance of the Treasure Tower, to Chapter 22, Transmission, of the Lotus Sutra, it is because they have the karma of employment. The notion of Bodhisattva and female Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva or female Bodhisattva are both beings ready for enlightenment and extremely altruistic beings. The Bodhisattva, a being ready for enlightenment. Bodhisattva comes from the Sanskrit bodhi, which means to be ready for enlightenment. This closeness to Buddhahood is the result of perseverance and also of a number of qualities developed by him or her. The Bodhisattva state of life is distinguished by the spirit of seeking, the permanent obsession with attaining Buddhahood. The female Bodhisattva, and altruistic being the essential characteristic of the Bodhisattva or female Bodhisattva state of life is altruism coupled with empathy. The Daishonin says the same thing. Those who are in the Bodhisattva state live among the mere mortals of the 6 lower paths, without giving much importance to themselves and respecting others, taking evil for themselves and giving good to others. The Lotusic evidence of the mission entrusted by the Buddha to the Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth. 12 chapters of the Lotus Sutra provide evidence of the Buddha's mission of Kosen Rufu to the Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth. Of these 12 chapters, 5 best reflect the mission entrusted to them by the Buddha. These are chapters 11, 15, 16, 21, 22 of the Lotus Sutra. Chapter 11, Appearance of the Treasure Tower, Ken Hodobon. In this chapter 11, the Bodhisattvas and female on Earth do not appear. But this chapter, because it opens the ceremony in the air where the Kosen Rufu movement is launched by a call for candidates, is necessarily linked to the Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth, as well as the following chapters until the 15th century when they appear. The 4 chapters preceding the 15th are chapters in which the scene, the decorum of the great entry into the fray of the Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth is set. Chapter 15, Rising from the Earth, Jayutsutsu. In Japanese, the Buddha turns away Bodhisattvas from other worlds. Chapter 15 begins with the appearance of Bodhisattvas from other worlds, who vow to the Buddha to propagate the Lotus Sutra in the southern continent, Jambudvipa, after the Buddha has died. The World-Honored One, another name for the Buddha, declined their offer. This is for 2 reasons. First, these zealous Bodhisattvas did not know the realities of our world, a world with which they have no connection. Second, they could not have endured the terrible suffering of the Kosen Rufu movement during the dreaded Mapo era. The Buddha entrusts the propagation of Buddhist law to his Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth. The Buddha retorts to the candidates of the Kosen Rufu movement that he has under his command great Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas who will carry out this mission. In the meantime, the earth trembles and opens, and immediately a multitude of Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas as numerous as the grains of 60,000 Ganges, each with his own retinue. They are led by guides, Yogyo, Muengyo, Yogyo, and Rakugyo. Chapter 16, Juryo, Duration of the Buddha's life. In this chapter, the Buddha Shakyamuni reassures a part of the Great Assembly, which doubts that the Buddha was the master of this multitude, about the deep karmic connection that exists between him and his Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth, since he attained Buddhahood during the distant period known as Gohyaku Jintengo. Chapter 21, The Transcendental Powers of the Tathagata. In Chapter 21, joining the palms of their hands, the Bodhisattvas and female Bodhisattvas on Earth pledge to propagate Buddhist law during the dreaded era of Mapo. In these terms, World-Honored One, After the Buddha became extinct in the places where the emanations of the world-honored one, we will preach this sutra widely. What for? Because we ourselves want to acquire this great law, true and pure, to read, recite, explain, preach, transcribe and make offerings to it. The Buddha said to them, after I enter nirvana, you must accept this sutra, transcribe it, and put it into practice according to these guidelines. Chapter 22, Transmission. This chapter 22, Transmission, is the apotheosis of the presence of bodhisattvas and female bodhisattvas on earth and the Lotus Sutra. This chapter 22 is the chapter that consecrates the definitive transmission of Buddhist law to bodhisattvas and female bodhisattvas on earth who have gone out so that they may spread it widely. Now I entrust it to you. You must resolutely propagate this law abroad, make its benefits spread widely. You must support, read, recite and widely disseminate this law, making all living beings everywhere hear and understand it. The bodhisattvas and female bodhisattvas on earth willingly accept this mission with great joy. 3 times, in unison and out loud, nodded, we will respectfully do all these things exactly as the world-honored one has commanded. Therefore, we beg the honored of the world not to have any worries about this. Examples of bodhisattvas from history. These are the examples of Phukyo and Vimalakirti. The example of Phukyo. The story of Phukyo will be dealt with in a mini-sutra to be published. The example of Vimalakirti. Compassion or benevolence, ji, in Japanese. Karuna, in Sanskrit. Empathy for others in pain are the essential characteristic of the bodhisattva. The Vimalakirti Teaching Sutra, in which the story of a lay disciple of the Buddha who was plagued by an illness is revealed, is edifying in this regard. Indeed, Vimalakirti, perceived in the sutras as the model of practitioners, when asked about his illness, because the human being saw Rezek, the Buddha's illness comes from his great compassion. The Bodhisattva's 4 vows. The sutras tell us that the Bodhisattva expresses his determination through the following 4 vows. It doesn't matter that sentient beings are innumerable, I swear to save them. It don't matter if passions are unthinkable, I swear to save them. It doesn't matter that the teaching is unlimited, I swear that the teaching must be studied. No matter how infinite the Buddha's truth is, I swear to attain it. You will be able to deepen this theme further through my sutras or writings of a Buddha, available on Amazon.fr for the original version and Amazon.com for the American English version, in paperback and Kindle book editions, as well as on other Amazon sales sites.